Been ready.
Hello, Patreon.
Oi.
Hello, Patreon.
Oh, let me find it over here.
Yeah, that might not be a bad idea.
Oh, man.
I think I will send you the actual link. Should I send it to that one? So that way you can click on it?
I mean, I guess. Oh. I'm looking myself to see if I can find it. Is this it?
If you go down to your messenger and pull up what I just sent her, you'll be able to click on it and go to it. This messenger.
Oh, dang it. Okay.
Sorry. And then click on that, and then click on that.
All right, then.
Yay! Here we
All
are.
right,
Did that help? That got you where you needed to be?
Sweet.
All right. Well, we're here definitely. I think what's cool.
Yeah, so we're going to use, sorry, didn't mean to interrupt, but we got to use the chat room here in YouTube because we're not going to talk about it.
Oh. Well, you can sit in Patreon. If you're doing the app from Patreon, you have access to this too.
So I had a bunch of people say they couldn't find the main chat room that I had created when we were doing the podcast, right, where we were doing the contests and things.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's when you found the link.
that's when I found that button. I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
I mean, it possibly wasn't me.
You know, when I got those 5 emails telling me that we needed to go in because our should have been hacked.
No, that was me.
Oh, that.
Because I had tried to find the password so many times.
Mm-hmm.
I had put in like so many different passwords that it became a jumbled mess.
Mm-hmm.
I am the hacker. Let's just get that straight.
No comment.
Let's put that out there. We're going to throw that out to public right now.
Mm-hmm.
I am the hacker here.
Mm-hmm.
I deleted the room. I deleted the people. I did it. And let me go ahead and apologize to the ones that I haven't apologized to yet. It's totally my bad. It was my bad.
When am I going to make it just public? It's coming, supposedly. So I guess we'll figure it out.
Anyway, we are going to be here for a little while, not too long, because there's not going to be very many here, only a few of us, and the ones that are going to be here are probably going to be acting like a fool, which is probably good. We're going to talk about some fun things. We're going to have a good time, and
the universe asked a question from our live on YouTube that I've been saving for this because I wanted to ask the question. When has a connection to time ever gave you anything else but time?
A what? A what?
When has a connection to time given you nothing else but a connection to time? It never gave you a connection
Well,
to another person.
Isn't that the purpose of time? Is to stay connected to it?
I think time is available so you can connect.
You know what I mean? And we don't honor our own time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you don't. I do.
I honor my connection to myself
I
before.
really don't. I'm more about it.
Because I realized that what's in me doesn't know what time is. What's out of me does, because I have to be in this world, but I don't necessarily have to be of it. I'm just like,
Let's dress Danny.
okay.
And we're doing this in here because when we do recreate the Patreon back to where it was, then when they'll see
somebody who's taking over.
They'll see this video, yeah. And anyway, he did say, he doesn't. He does have a. We had it, Danny. I did it. I don't know. And he's got a question, so I'm just gonna throw out the whole. We're fixing the chat room. I'm owning it. I'm stepping out and saying I did it. It was me. It was all me.
I wasn't anywhere to be found. I'm sorry, I wasn't in the premises.
He probably wasn't.
No.
That was the problem.
That was more than the problem.
Yeah. Because usually you'll be like, don't touch it.
I own that I wasn't there.
Don't hit that button.
I'll own that I wasn't there.
Is that?
I don't know. I think I asked you to do something, and then when you went over there, I don't think you remember what you were supposed to do.
Danny has a question. Go for it, Danny.
Yeah, what's the question? And we're going to address a few of the questions that were asked about the emotions that came up in the homework. We'll do that here in a second.
Yeah, and we're going to have that fixed
Yeah.
for the next podcast. But we got somebody who is going to be doing a lot of things for us. So she's a bestie.
She's the bestie.
She's the bestie. What are you doing?
Nothing. Just checking this to see.
Well, we're live in the chat.
Yeah.
Oh, you're checking Patreon.
Yeah. No, there were some questions that were sent to the
Oh.
messages. And I have to go there to get to them. And you forgetting that part. Okay. Well, we're getting there.
Me?
That hurt. Don't do that again.
No, Danny asked me to.
Okay. Is your microphone not working? Is it on?
He said he thinks that my audio is coming in through my laptop.
It could be the volume in there.
Wait,
let
let
me
me
check this. Hold on. Because he might be right. It might be doing it again. I hope it didn't do that the whole time, but hey, you never know. It probably did. Right now, yeah, he's right. It's coming. How about that? Did that fix it?
How about
He
now?
probably can hear you now.
How about now, Danny?
How's
Just
that?
say
Does
yeah.
that work?
We did the whole podcast like that.
How about that?
Okay, they can hear you.
Okay, cool. So that was the only question he had?
He said we'll talk later. I don't understand why they just don't come here.
They are. They're coming. They said they were coming down to actually visit and hang out.
Oh, man.
I think we should have a retreat.
Oh, that worked.
Oh, yeah.
What'd you do?
Yeah, that actually all I did is I had to go to the input. I didn't realize that it was on internal microphone for the Mac instead of actually being on the microphones themselves. With my apologies. I
That was
bet you
your fault.
I wonder if we did that whole last live with
We
the whole,
did.
Yeah,
We
probably.
did.
Yeah. Well.
And I didn't sound near this cool. I sound like Phoebe in her sick voice. Where she tried
So sick.
the phlegm voice. Phlegm.
So we posted this because what we were doing earlier is we wanted to make sure that people read that when they came into that last one. And I don't know if they got that the connection of time is related to this question or this statement here, which is relationships do not cause pain and unhappiness. They bring out the pain and unhappiness that is already in you. And I thought, ooh, that would be a good one to just post out there. And that, of course, is Eckhart Tolle. So we give him mad props for that because that is the truth. These are things that are buried down in you, and then when they start to happen to you, you start showing up a different kind of way. And when those things come out in relationships or in connection, some very unusual things happen. I think it was Sandra and Alan just emailed. I saw them come across the top there.
Don't they know we're in a live? Did you tell them?
I think they know.
They're stuck in Canada. Who's stuck in Canada?
Oh, that's right. The quarantine, they can't get out of the state. They're talking about Brooke and Danny. They can't get out of the state. So, or get out of the country or whatever it is. I mean, the border is...
we just live across the lake.
Well, I thought most of everything was opening back up. The numbers look like they're increasing still. I mean, 120,000 close here, which
They
they...
lost everybody, didn't they?
Yeah, and they said that it was coming. So emotions, let's talk about them. In the work that we had asked you what the actual question was, is I need to pull it up so I can read the question, and then we can talk a little bit about it.
From doing last time.
Yeah, you really kind of did, but that's okay. So
Who turns 50 tomorrow? This girl. Who laid the sun too
Yeah.
long? This girl. I am a mess. Guys, my lips are so sore. When he comes at me for a kiss, I'm slowly dying inside.
oh.
And when he comes at me like this, I'm going, oh God, it's gonna hurt so bad. It's all blistered up, look.
I see, baby.
It's all mess.
I'm kissing you from a
God
spiritual
bless
distance.
his heart. It's,
I'm kissing you from a spiritual distance.
listen, Sunday, I decided to unplug. And I was going to do a me day. And I wasn't going to answer all these messages and get caught up in my cell phone. I'm disconnecting from my cell phone. It's a process. It's a whole Sherry process. Nobody wants to be involved in but me. I promise. And I've lost it. I was going.
You're going through the process
of
with your lips and stuff.
Oh yeah. So I've decided to take a me day. So I turn my messenger off. I get on the raft in the pool, and I knew that the grandkids were coming a little bit later, and I floated and floated and floated and floated, and then I kept floating and kept floating. A couple times I turned it over and floated. And then the grandkids came and I floated with them. And then my daughter came out and I floated with her. And I kept floating. I kept floating for like 8 or 9 hours I floated. And then the next day I woke up with big scabs on my face. My face was so red. And it felt like a racetrack. But I have had a do-it-yourself chemical peel for my 50th birthday, because this is clearly brand new skin after all the burn gets off of it.
Absolutely. It looks fantastic on you.
Yeah. I'm telling you the truth, Sandra. It really happened. And I'm going to use the balm from her because my lips are so sore. I wish you could see them. I don't think you can. It hurts so bad. Look, what is up with you into that picture showing your lips?
Well, this Let's Do Some Work from the homework this past weekend. He was like, were you having a photo fest? And I'm like, well, something like that. I was posting on Patreon. So the question or the work that we had to do this week, and actually we're going to pose this question to you because you need to hear this question and you need to answer it.
All right, then.
When it comes to your emotions, what emotions have you experienced that disconnect you from yourself?
Anger. Not sadness. I didn't say sadness. I didn't say hurt. I said anger. Right? Anger always disconnects me from myself. It makes us say things that we don't mean. It makes me do things. It makes us do things that we don't want to do. It takes us to places and levels we don't have no business in. Right?
Right.
Anger for sure.
Okay.
Fear definitely disconnects. Fear of what could, fear of what is, and fear of what would. Right? Those are big to me, and they disconnect me. They take me completely out of myself and into the 3D realm completely.
Yeah.
Hurt, not so much. Hurt is a genuine feeling to me. As long as it stays hurt and doesn't turn into anger.
Right.
Because that's where anger stems from. Hurt. Right?
Right.
We only really get angry because we're hurt. We get angry because somebody done us wrong and we don't feel like justice has been served, so we get angry. Right? They don't give us our fries at McDonald's and we lose our shit. Right?
Why? Because you had a taste for them and now the taste is not going to be met, so you're hurt and you're actually going to reach out in anger from the hurt. No,
because somebody did us wrong, because the person who bagged that food clearly hates us.
Oh.
And
they didn't know who you were.
Well, that's irrational thought, Lee. We're in irrational thinking.
They didn't know who you were. That's irrational thinking. Is they didn't see in the drive-thru that it was Sherry and her fries weren't going to be in that bag. Right. They got another thing coming.
But at that point, we come from hurt. Like, oh, shit, I really wanted those fries. Like, my heart hurts a little bit. Like, it's a genuine hurt. Come on. When you don't get your fries, it's a genuine hurt. Y'all know it is. It hurts, and it hurts. Right?
Have you ever thought that maybe somebody in the universe is going, watch this, I'm going to make sure that this kid doesn't bag her fries?
Right. I'm sure it's happened. But so then, we'll give you an example. I was having kind of a bad night one night a couple years ago or last year, whenever it was.
Months ago.
No, this was a while ago.
This was in probably
the
October.
Sonic thing?
That was like October of last
Okay.
year. Yep.
Well, whatever. Okay, let's just go there.
Mm-hmm.
It was me and Lee and Cameron, and at the time he was probably 10.
Mm-hmm.
He's 11 now, so he was 10. So we go through Sonic, right? I'm just developing these symptoms too, right? And I don't know it. We don't know it at the time, right? And I really had a taste for when I go to Sonic, I get the slushy and I get the blue raspberry and the green apple mixed.
You did.
I did. Thank you very much. I can't have
Liver can't take that shit. No.
Right. So we get to the speaker, and apparently they were having speaker issues, right? Because down came 15 questions about the colors and the flavors of the slushy, right?
Yep.
And I'm like, blue raspberry and green apple. Lee is trying to explain to the lady what I want. Finally, I chime in, right?
At this point, there is no chiming in. She starts screaming.
Oh man, I'm angry.
They're in there with our food, by the way,
I'm
just
like,
so you know. They're in there with our
green,
food.
The green one. What would you like? Green apple with nerds? Green apple without nerds? Green apple. I want freaking green apple and blue raspberry. And
Those aren't the words she was using, by the way.
That's what I want. That's what I want. That's all. Why is this so hard? I use those words, I swear. Why is this so hard? It's a simple slushy. It's only 2 flavors. It's only 2. It's not like I've asked for 19 different flavors. I've asked for 2. Why? And I said, why is this so hard? So at this point, this poor baby is jumbled, right? She don't even know what I asked for. We get up to the window and she's a mess, right? What was it? What flavor was it? Is what she asked. That was not the right question at the right time. But she didn't know that. But Lee did. And Cameron was sitting in the back. I lost my shit. I said, you know what? Never mind. Never freaking mind. If you can't comprehend that I want a large green apple and a blue raspberry slushy, that is a problem. That's a big problem. Screw the slushy. Give us our food. Never mind. Right? This is how I treated this poor baby. We drive and go through someplace else, and we're coming back, and ooh, did my conscience start yelling at me. Right? And I thought to myself, my 10-year-old son just witnessed every bit of that. How in the hell am I ever going to justify how I just treated that girl? Right? It was going through my head like something insane, right? So I called on my spirit guides. I'm like, y'all are going to have to help me here because I flubbed it up. Because I don't cuss at my spirit guides.
Right.
And, well, I have. Right? We'll talk about that on another podcast. Right? So, Spirit laid it upon me to call the girl. So I didn't say anything. I just picked up the phone and I called, and a young girl answered the phone, and I just said, I don't know who it is. Can I just talk to the young girl at the drive-through window, please? And she's like, hang on just a second. And the girl gets on the phone, and I explained to her who we was, and we were the ones. Oh, by the way, I forgot to say, she handed me a small slushy, blue raspberry and green apple slushy on the house. I got one, and it was perfect. So I felt horrible. So I really did. Come on now, you know I felt bad. So I said, look, honey, I am so sorry. The way I treated you was so disrespectful. I'm sure you've probably had 2 or 3 of those already today, because that's just how people are. I just want you to know that I didn't mean to offend you, and I am so sorry for the way that I treated you, right?
Right.
And you did a wonderful job, and Cameron was listening to me, and she was said, "You just don't know how much," and the lady before you, right? Oh, so I get off the phone with the girl, and I felt better, but
I have to give it to you. You caught yourself on that one, but what you're saying is that when things you're not being felt. That kind of hurts you, but then it leads to anger.
And then it turns to anger. Like, why can't you hear me? You're not hearing me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know the speaker's working because you're answering back to me.
Mm-hmm.
Why aren't you comprehending what I'm saying to you?
Mm.
I'm saying something simple,
Mm.
right? So
Mm-hmm.
why aren't you comprehending it? It's total judgment of me thinking you're an idiot because
Mm-hmm.
you can't understand what the hell it is I'm saying.
She's about to have an out-of-body experience,
And
if that wasn't one already.
and then trying to understand in myself, like, where did that come from?
Mm.
Because I'm a why person. I'm an investigator. Where did that come from? Like, I don't want that in there. So constantly, like, removing things too, like, ew, that was ugly. I don't ever want to have to do that again. So let's wrap this up and call this girl up and get rid of this right now. Right? We don't need to take anything else with us from there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it's mostly the time what happens is when people don't meet you in your emotions, confrontation shows up. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
If they're not meeting or listening, or if you're telling yourself they won't, you actually deliver it a little bit stronger, which comes from your confrontation versus coming from your peace. So when you experience your emotions, are you experiencing them coming out of your peace? Because most emotions, that's the way they've been handled. They haven't been handled where you actually will sit with your emotions and then really get to the root of them. And like you said, that's part of the investigation work. Wait a minute, what was this slushy going to give me that this person wasn't getting what I wanted? And then there was something in you that said, you never get what you want. And that's what caused the conversation.
It causes a whole dialogue within yourself, and you're pissed off now at the poor little 15-year-old, 16-year-old girl at Sonic who's just making the slushies, trying to get through high school so she could buy a movie ticket and maybe a joint, and right, it's high school. Come on, get real, and you're ruining her whole day over a slushie.
Absolutely.
Over a slushie.
And it's really not about the slushie.
It's
never about the slushie. It's never about the fries. It's never about the things that you want on the outside. What it is about is what you're trying to tell yourself is going to extend something of you which you don't need.
This girl gets the brunt of, there goes Craig. This girl gets the brunt of the fact that your dad left when you were 3. And she wasn't even born yet. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's what she's getting.
Yep.
She's getting
the
fact
unanswered
that
emotions.
She's getting that your mother abandoned you. She's getting the abusive husband. She's getting all that you've got built up inside of you. She's getting the abusive mom, the sex abuse, the sister that hit on you. She's getting all that mess, and all she did was go to work that day so she could earn a living.
I think that's what leads to the question, if you experience your emotions and you're not sharing them, who are they loving? Who are they with? It doesn't matter the emotion. It doesn't matter if it's judgment. It doesn't matter if you're hurt. It doesn't matter if you're angry. It doesn't matter if you have guilt or shame. If you're not sharing that, you're actually going to get pissed off even more that they're loving something that you're not. They don't even feel you anymore.
True.
And I think that's a trigger for that confrontation to maintain.
I keep
those
forgetting
emotions.
to talk in the mic, and so do you.
Sorry about that.
You know what?
So
I think if we turn them like this, because we normally face each other, because we're,
I like the look in your eyes when I talk to you.
I know. Like, we're never going to get used to not being able.
Right.
Okay. So
I-
this has to twist around. There we go.
Isn't it confirmation, though, when somebody's talking to you and you are expressing your emotions, you want them to keep eye contact with you? It's when they're looking away from you that you know they're not listening.
For sure.
And we see that a lot.
Stay right there. No, stay right where you're at. Look at me.
We see that a lot, and we even experience it a lot. But we also experience that is a way to abandon your own emotions, let alone the person you're talking to.
Right.
So when you're trying to get them to feel what you're feeling, if they're not giving you any of their senses, you automatically know you're not being listened to.
Right.
The thing about senses is your see, hear, smell, touch, taste. You start to abandon those, and that's what you're defending your right to do.
Yeah.
Do you see
Oh,
what I'm
for
saying?
sure.
I don't want to feel this, and I'm going to attack you so I don't feel this. I
So
feel
I don't
that
feel it,
instead.
yeah.
I don't want to feel hurt.
Right.
I know you're not accessing it.
Yeah.
I'm not accessing it. It's not healing.
You're the one
So-
in my direct line of fire.
Exactly. And that's what judgment is.
Yeah.
And you judge that inside yourself, saying that there's something wrong with you that the other person's doing. that to you.
Automatically find yourself judging. Why is she so stupid?
And
What school do you go to?
yes.
You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, people say that. I didn't say that, thank God. But I would have. Unfortunately, in anger, we say dumb things that we regret later, right? And we judge hard.
And-
How would that affected her really, her entire life? If I would have just said a stranger, just the simple words were, "How stupid are you that you can't get a simple slushy right?"
Mm-hmm.
You know, at a girl or even a boy, anybody who's that young of age at a job, trying to do something positive with their life, going through school, working, could be detrimental to hear something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And they could carry it, and they do carry it with them for the rest of their lives. And we go through our lives and don't even remember the shit that we said to people all throughout our lives that caused hurt.
And the discovery there would be, where are your senses? Where is your ability to feel? Where is your ability to smell? Where is your ability to touch? Where's your ability? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because when you get angry, you're so far up in your head, you think
Oh, you
that
can't
somebody,
feel anything but more anger.
but you're mad
Yeah.
because you abandon your senses to try to get somebody's attention.
Yeah.
And the senses are going unmet and unmatched, not by them, but by you. So you're mad at them, partially more so at you, because now you've got to raise your voice. You got to take all of your senses and put it focused on an energy to be heard. And that's what causes emotions. That's the mind's reflection in the body. If you really look at it, where are the senses when you're feeling emotions? The senses go on hiatus. And now you're in your head. And now you're not using your senses. And it's not common because who's doing it?
Right.
Who's actually connecting to how you feel? Who's connecting to how you're smelling things? Who's the other night? Oh, you smell that smoke? I smell it. You think that thing's burning? Yeah. Because we're both in the same space. But if you're like,
yeah.
have you checked on the fire? I'll be like, And now I want to be looking. I'm not connecting that you smell it.
Smell it, right.
So we don't connect in that way. So we end up feeling like the other person is forcing us to do something that we could automatically do. But it's the wording.
Right.
Because once you're up in your head saying they're not recognizing my senses,
Danny said, where are your common senses?
it would be common sense if we weren't in our head all the time. It would be common sense, but everybody's in their head all the time. So it's now common thought over common sense.
Right.
But you don't actually see that you've prioritized it differently, and that's your greatest disconnect. You will make what you're telling yourself in your mind what you feel without feeling anything. And then when we ask you to call it, it's like, show us your work. We're asking you to walk us through the path of how you get back to feeling, how you get back to your senses. And what happens is let me sit with this. And you can see it in their face that their senses start coming back to life, because now they're like, they wake up for the first time going, it's funny. What I felt before that was coming from isn't there anymore. Well, you abandoned it a long time ago. So we got to go back and reclaim that moment where all your senses were enabled. Because once you learn how to abandon your senses, you abandon everything else.
Right.
And you're doing all this for time. And you didn't have time when those senses were there. So this is a total disconnect, and that's what happens to your connection to time. That's what it's about. Your connection to time is your connection to your thoughts, not your feelings.
Not
So
your feelings.
if you didn't have time, you would be more in your feelings.
That's where your thoughts are. I got to be here.
How are
I
you?
gotta be there. I got to be here. I got to be there. Where are your feelings? Right here, right now, with you, watching a movie on the couch. Now, I get that we can't be in our feels all day, every day.
Who said?
Physically, in 3D, especially with children, there's everyday life we do have to do.
Well, what are you
But
showing them by not being in your
But you
feelings?
can be in your feelings all the time while you're doing those tasks, following time, not connected to time.
Right. But I have a question about that. Anytime that time is involved and you're raising a child, if they don't see you connect to how you feel, don't they grow up to be kids who are connected to how they feel? So are you raising them to be connected through thought and being thoughtless of themselves because they never saw you feel?
Right.
And when your child is upset, you can feel it when you walk in a room.
Right.
And most people just shut down. Huh? How was your day? You doing okay? Yeah, I'm fine. And they accept that because they feel something, but they're not acknowledging the feeling. They ask them something that's over it so they can change their tune and show them who they need to be for whatever time it is right then. But they don't catch them in the moment and sit in that moment with them and say, hey, just talk. I'll listen. We don't do that. So we miss connection completely because we don't do that.
Right.
If I walk in the room and I feel you, you did this too. You have this, actually, that's one of their strongest gifts you actually have, is if I come in, you're an empath. You'll pick up whether I'm in my head or I'm in my heart. And if I'm in my heart having a fight with my head, you point it out very quickly. Like, hey, you okay? And I'm like, oh, it makes me present when you do that now. It used to catch me off guard. I got nothing going on. What are you doing? It was a defense. It's not that way anymore because now I'm like, no, I'm in my body.
Yeah.
I just realized my head was making noise, and now you caught me, and it helps me.
Yeah.
And then if you go, well, what's in your head? It would be a completely different conversation because then you'd be like, oh, I see how it's doing things to you.
Right.
You see how it does things to you, and I see how things do it to me.
Yeah.
But it's interesting that when we connect, we want to connect on the level of what we were taught, not connect on the level of connection.
Right.
So on the level of connection, if I walk in and I feel a radiance in the room, or if the room smells good, it smells like, I don't know, maple syrup and pancakes, then I feel hungry, but I also feel, a little bit of activity.
There's a whole story behind the maple syrup and pancakes.
Yeah, we get that a lot. So you smell like pancakes. We're the pancake twins.
Well, now we have to tell them why, because
We're the pancake twins.
now we have to tell them why. I burn a specific flavor or scent of wax melts in the house.
Walmart.
that I've bought for years, and it's one specific scent, and this specific scent, and you know what? You'd have to kill me to get it out of me. Except there's a friend of mine who knows what it is, and we battle for it. But I've tried every other wax melt, even Scentsy, and look, it it smells the house so much that I haven't burned it. There are times that I go a couple days without burning it, and everywhere we go, we're asked if we just had maple syrup, if we just went to IHOP.
No, I smell pancakes.
I smell pancakes.
You smell like pancakes.
We get it
Do people
lot.
tell you smell like
It
pancakes?
gets in our coat, like cigarette smoke. We smell like maple
And anybody
syrup.
who's been in our house, when they say they leave, people
They
are like,
leave. They
"You
take
smell like
it within
pancakes."
their bags. I mean, really, my grandkids. If my daughter comes over without them, my granddaughter's like, "You've been to Grandma's house. Where'd you go to Grandma's house for? Well, why didn't we go?"
But
she
it's
has to
interesting.
Febreze herself before she goes in the house.
I have to admit this though. It is
Pancake Pattersons. Thanks, Danny.
Well, and Danny, I want to share this with you because I want you to pay attention to this one particular thing that does
Tomorrow, David.
is that our connection extends through smell.
Yeah.
We thought it extended through everything, but it extends through all of our senses too. We are now starting to really pay more attention to that because we stay in our senses more than our head. This is the deciphering factor is if they come into this connection and they want to just sit here, they absorb everything, including our sense of smell, including how we smell, including what we smell. It's really interesting that they walk away and then somebody says, I smell maple pepper. And it's like, you can see how the connection grows because we've had different people, and the ones that really don't do that or have that experience, they didn't come in and really talk to us both at the same time.
Right.
It's really interesting. If they talk to both of us at the same time, that's what they walk away with, like, they smell like pancakes. And they go right to IHOP. Just kidding. They don't necessarily go right to IHOP. But
We have a question.
Oh, okay.
I feel like it's possible to be disconnected when you're in your head, or maybe this is just a statement. I feel like it's possible to be You're gonna have to read that.
Oh,
My
let me
eyes
get
are-
my glasses
Oh.
on here. Let's see what this looks like.
Oh, that was Brooke.
I feel like it's possible to be
I love it.
disconnected when you're in your head or in your heart because you can feel too far into things, just like you can think too far into things. Let me ask you a question. When has thought ever connected you to anyone or anything? Then ask yourself, when has your heart connected you to anyone or anything? You'll find that one is not able to answer what the other can. And which one you actually come from. A majority of the time, if you're in your head, you're going to come from more of your emotions than what you feel. And the emotions are the mind reflection in the body, which actually isn't accessing the actual feeling. We've seen this labeling effect for centuries now, and it's kept everybody disconnected. And it's coming to a head because people are actually feeling things now. We're paying attention to the body because the entire world got sick. The world has been sick. The virus of the mind is caught up and created other viruses. If you, in your heart, you realize that that's the cure.
Mm-hmm.
Your heartbeat has always been the cure, not time.
Right.
You don't need more time because it's an illusion. You can't get more time. You don't connect the time to get more time, but it's going to give it to you in the worst way. It's going to make everything that you want in time further out in time because you're connected to
Now I
time.
have that David Bowie song in my head.
Which one?
Time.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Well, maybe
And,
Alan can play that
thank
for
you,
us next time
David
he's on the
said
show.
I look very healthy for 50. Let me tell you how
Hey.
healthy I do look. Not only am I 50 tomorrow, I'm also a diabetic and I'm battling cancer and stage 4 cirrhosis of the liver and hepatic encephalopathy. And I look healthy as a horse.
I make her stay in her body. But now she's told me I can't do that any longer. So I'm like, well, when I'm enjoying your body, you're going to want to be there for it. I promise you, you will. You'll want to be there for it.
All that going on, I feel good. I feel good today.
I'll tell you if she feels good later. I
I
promise.
feel good today.
Connection is beautiful.
Feel good today.
It's all the mind stuff that's keeping
Right.
you from the beauty of it. And you know, we want to make sure we leave this analogy with you because we're finding that this analogy makes more and more sense every moment. We've been talking about the ocean and we talked about where we actually come from, but I want you to pay attention to this like you are the ocean. Do you spend time up on top of the waves or do you spend time down on the bottom where it's nice and calm? And if you are spending time up on the waves, do you realize you're going to have emotions about it? Whereas down here below, you don't have any need for emotions because you're seeing everything in its beauty by looking up at the waves. You have to recognize the beauty of nature to realize the recognition is not necessarily a recognition of nature. You're recognizing yourself as nature. Get out of here. This is going to be the top of the waves. This is going to be the calm, nice and calm down below. And people struggle to get there because of the story this makes it up and the story that this tells you have to be and how you're supposed to hide this and how you're not supposed to talk about that. And how, we've been doing that for far too long and nobody ever got connected doing that. So why are you doing it? That is what you do with your emotions. That is the work. If you're looking for the work, is your bridge from here to here broken? And if it is, why don't you just jump off the bridge and land where you know you're going to be safe anyway?
There's an idea.
Yeah, it is. And from here, you'll be able to see what happened to the bridge, and you'll realize that the bridge was never you to begin with. You can't come from your hurt. You can only come from your love.
Ooh, that was big.
Yeah.
Man, thank you guys for hanging out with us tonight. And
We had one more question.
we do.
What do you
Oh,
think?
yes. Yeah,
What do you think it means for your body to be triggered, racing heart, flight or fight mode, but you have no reason to be triggered? Yes, you do. You have plenty of reason to be triggered. If you're not in your body all the time, but you're always stuck in time instead of your body, yes, you've got more than significant reason to be triggered because time has done nothing but give you past and future and never gave you presence. You're triggered because you're not present. Are you sure you would be triggered if you were present? So you're right. You have no reason. You're looking for a reason through time. Once you feed the mind time,
That went through the mic.
yeah, but you no longer stay up here. Once you take time out of it, you'll realize that the heartbeat is your actual clock. How many beats you got left? And are you staying up here for it? That's a very tiny space in a very large universe in you. How are you being the sun of your own experience? Will only be found in the heart, not the head. The head never lit anything up. If you notice, the crown only gets lit up because this is open. The third eye only gets up because this is open. Why don't you remember where your center is? That would be the sun, wouldn't it? See, the universe was designed to show you which center you should be paying to.
Started preaching. I don't want to preach.
Well, we're gonna I cannot wait to hear you preach this.
Oh,
Reverend Cherry.
preach.
You guys have never
Well,
met
preach
Reverend
it.
Cherry, but Reverend Cherry's coming.
What am I preaching?
Coming.
What am I preaching on?
So, flight or flight mode is what? A mind process.
It is a
Either
mind
one.
process.
None of them make you present.
Yeah, you know what? Though that does happen to me sometimes. I'm not even gonna lie. I feel that sometimes. Like my heart racing, and I'm like, man, you got to run. You got to go. Right? And then I'm thinking, what? Why?
Where are you going?
Like, but then I wonder, like, why? I don't have absolutely no reason to be triggered here. What's going on? And then okay, we're on Patreon, so I can use this analogy. It's like, you know, when you smoke pot and you wait for a minute, and you have to you think to yourself, "Am I high?" Right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you weren't high, you wouldn't be asking that question to yourself. So you know, then once you ask that question to yourself, that you're high.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like that.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You if you have to ask yourself, if you feel triggered and you have to say, well, I'm not triggered. Well, if you're saying that to yourself, like, why I'm not triggered, then you're triggered. You're already there. It's like asking yourself if you're high. It's in there. You're clearly triggered by something that was said, or something that you saw, or something that happened that surrounded where you're at, that got you subconsciously, even possibly, to where you don't even know what it even could be. Does that make sense?
Yep.
And that's where, you know, people do a lot of deep inner child work and stuff, and we do a lot of that stuff in Root Camp. But it's like that. If you have to ask yourself, why am
Yeah.
or try to convince yourself that you're not triggered. That's where I was trying to get to. Try
Right,
to convince yourself that you're not triggered.
Mm-hmm.
Then you're triggered because you don't have to convince yourself of something that you're not.
Am I triggered? And then you go to the body and the body doesn't respond. I must be triggered.
Yeah.
And you didn't investigate.
It's the same analogy. Am I high? But then
Right.
then you have to. If I wasn't, I wouldn't have to ask that question.
Well, and I think "Am I high?" is the way the
makes
mind,
sense.
because when you actually smoke a plant that actually is full of life, like you do with this particular plant that actually is alive, in a way that actually, if you smoke it, it makes you more present. The mind goes, "Am I high?" Because it's like, this could be a waste of my time. It's wondering where the hell you went, and you're not listening to it no more. You're just going, "Ooh, I must be high. I heard I heard myself ask if I'm high. That must mean that my mind is somehow shut down." And now you start to panic because you think you need your mind for something, which you really don't. That is called an
taking that out for the bloopers reel when you said my ass.
it's called reality. You actually come more into reality because you no longer have an escape in time, because now you really don't give a fuck about it. And your body is now feeling you for the first time. And people have experiences of beauty, of nature, it's almost, if you go and, I'm going to be high. I'm going to be high for hours. Oh God, I hope this doesn't last long. And now you're in anxiety because you're trying to leave your body when your body's relaxed.
Right.
That'll make you real uncomfortable. But this is the understanding of emotions, isn't it? It's the understanding of emotions. It literally will show you that your mind is so activated and you derive a sense of self from a mind that doesn't feel you. All of your senses are abandoned by you. And now you're pissed off because everybody else is going to abandon them too. And this is going to make confrontation easy.
I'm yawning for no particular reason,
Well,
except for the fact that I haven't slept.
You've probably, with the full moon activity, Gemini at the same time, and the birthday at the same
over here, y'all.
You are going through a huge heavy duty purge.
It's been, and my legs,
And
it hurts, and I'm over here doing it. It must,
it's all right.
Anyway, thanks for watching, and
Yeah.
all of you from Patreon that are seeing this when you come back. Glad you're back. Hey.
Yes, and all of those who can actually come into the messages portion of Patreon, message what you do with those emotions now. Because if you're listening to everything we said and we're telling you you have to discover this before connection, it is because this is the only connection you can have to yourself, and this connection is the one to your heart, not your head. Your head is going to deter you from that. That's the trigger. Pay attention whether you're in your head or your senses. Your senses will help you heal whatever your head is doing. I promise you that. We've seen it. It's brought people together. It's give them some kind of connection that they don't understand, because who on this planet has it? If you're afraid to tell people you're connected to, or people who are friends or family, and they love you, and you fear telling them about this connection, it's because you're not in your senses to share it with them. Yes,
Sorry, I was talking to Sandra.
I was preaching. I'm sorry. See, you should have.
Oh, me and Sandra were like doing subliminal messages, and I was like, we're gonna have to come up with signs. Didn't we have gang signs at one time? What were those? Do you remember what the gang signs were? It was a Lee. No, stop. It was Lee Trevor. It was Lee.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Lee Trevor and Allen or something.
We did have a song. Alan, you're gonna need to
I mean,
send me a-
some kind of gang sign. I
Yeah.
don't know what it
Sandra,
was. They're in a
we
thug
did.
gang.
We had something that we would do. You're right. We would do
Yeah,
it.
I know. It was some kind of crazy. Troy? Was it Troy?
It might have been.
I don't remember.
It might have
who
been.
was.
It-
Some type
did-
of gang sign language thing or something. But anyway, you're welcome.
We did start reposting links. We did post the links back from when Sandra and Alan and Eileen and Trevor and us two were on doing radio show
yeah.
on Blog Talk. And I did post that. Hopefully, nobody really said whether or not the links worked. Hopefully they did. But there was a lot of energy that was happening and that created a lot of growth for all of us. So I wanted to post that there so that way you could follow a new path that we really don't make available anywhere.
Ooh, see, 3 sets of twins in the house. Patreon, we will be back for a live podcast on June 25th, Thursday, June 25th. And we will have a very special guest joining us that day. And
We want to send a shout out to all of you.
so excited.
We love you. Thank you for being here.
Gosh. Lee and Sherry Patterson, relationshipreinvented.com.
Pancake
Send us
twins.
an email.
Pancake twins.
info@relationshipreinvented.com. If you're interested in becoming a coach, if you're interested in root camp, shoot us an email. Check out our website.
IHOP
all
twins.
that stuff.
Out. IHOP twins? No.
Out.
IHOP twins.
And
Can't be-
next time you see me, I'll be 50.
5.
5?
5 years old. You got to count each decade as a year. That's what I've been doing. I'll be 6 in 10 years.
Right here. It hurts right here sometimes.
Once you get back to your senses, you'll realize you'll
Right
have
here.
any
It hurts
age you
right
want.
here sometimes,
Full
right here.
access. You can determine what your heart has given you and versus what it hasn't.
It hurts right here.
Pay attention how many times your heart's. And the maple syrup twins is nice. I like that. Serple. Maple Serple twins. That's cute too.
Serple?
Yeah, Serple.
Is that even a word?
It's a Sandra Allen word. They probably put it together.
Sandra makes up words too. I love it about her.
It could have been the Maple Purple twins. I don't know.
This has been lovely.
Yes.
We love y'all, and we will see you in 2 weeks. And on June the 25th at 6 p.m. we'll be live on YouTube. And then we come right here to Patreon. And for those of you who are missing this because Sherry deleted you out of her lives, it wasn't forever. And when you watch this, we love you. We do. And those of you who won T-shirts that I posted in Patreon, we pull those random, by the way. So send me your address. I sent you messages.
Yes.
There it is. Love y'all.
Yes, sir.
Peace.